Alright, everybody, welcome to How to Play Planetary Annihilation. My name is Gandalf Senpai in game, and I'm going to show you how to play in a very basic sense of what PA is today. So we are going to click and select our landing spot. We want to be near metal cluster, but not on top of one. So to start off a game, you want to first build one of the starting factories in the game. So there is naval, air, bot, and vehicle. They all have their pros and cons. I'll cover that in a different video. But so you have a commander. Your commander makes 20 metal and 2,000 power per second. And with that, you have a streaming economy of the storage of that economy. The commander uses 30 metal and 1,800 energy per second. So, or 1,750 energy per second. So he uses less energy than he makes, but he uses more metal than he makes. So at the start of game, with only your commander building, you will not need to build power. You will need to get metal extractors though. So metal extractors. The commander has a limited build amount of buildings he can build. He is tech 0. Um, so building a metal extractor, how you do that is you go and hover above. First you click your metal extractor, and then you hover above any of the metal spots on the map, and he will be able to build it. If you want to build more than one, you click on it, and then you pull outwards. This makes an area build command, and it will automatically queue up all of that area of that building and what it can build. So we're going to build some bot fabricators. We're going to build 2 of them. And we're going to build some spinners, which are anti-air vehicles. Then we're going to build some bolos, which are the light tanks. So with our bot fabricator, we're going to want to get some intel. So our first bot fabricator, we're going to have build a air factory, which can build scout planes, known as fireflies. Our second builder, we're going to have him build power plants because we're going to run out of power here soon. So as you can tell, the difference from the commander to the Tech 1 fabrication bot, so Tech 0, Tech 1. So a Tech 1 fabrication unit, each faction has a Tech 1 fabrication unit, and the only difference between all 3 of them is that they can build um, their Tech 2, their advanced factory of whatever type they are. So a fabrication bot can build the advanced bot factory, but it cannot build advanced air, advanced naval, or advanced vehicle. The difference between the Tech 1 fabrication units and the commander is the orbital launcher, the advanced factory, a laser defense tower, which is the upgrade to the single laser defense tower, a pelter, which is an artillery static defense. Um, Also, you have the umbrella, the radar, and the deep space orbital radar. The commander does not have the other buildings. So, we're going to hover above our other fabber, and we are going to right click on it, and it will give the assist command. So we want to see what our enemy is doing. So we're going to double click on our fireflies. We're going to go over here to area patrol. We're going to click on the ground, and we're going to drag out past the edge of the map that we can see. This will give them an area patrol across the whole entire planet. So we don't want to get hit by bombers. Right now we have 2 anti-air vehicles, but we're gonna probably want some fighters too. So we're gonna click out some fighters, and then we're gonna want some light infantry units, which are assault bots. So we're gonna click out some of those, and then we're gonna want some more flame tanks, which are short range, high health, high damage, but they are slower. So we're gonna click out some of those. So right now we're gonna want to put some static defenses up in our base. In order to make a queue of units, with any of the units other than area building, you click one building while you're holding shift, and then keep on clicking where you want them. And you can change what kind of building you want, and it'll do that. It'll give you a build queue. So now that we have enough power, we don't want to be wasting power. So we're going to build an energy storage, and we don't want to be wasting metal, so we're going to build a metal storage. And with this game, you always want to be expanding. So once my assault bots are done, they're going to build some more fabrication bots. So we're going to grab our land army and move it out. So we have all these units selected now. In order to make it so we don't get the air units, we just go over here to the fighters and we click the X. And now we do not have the fighters selected. So our scouts showed that they have 4 metal extractors there, and they have a lot of base over here. The commander, and they are expanding quite rapidly across the rest of the map. So we're going to move forward, and we're going to try to attack this spot of metal and hurt their income. We're going to grab our fighters now, and we're going to hit an assist command above our units going in. This keeps them more safe from aerial raids and attacks from the opponent. So now that we have more units, or more factories and more units in play that use metal, we need to get some more metal ourselves per second. So we're going to go over here, we're going to build some metal extractors. And we're already good on power, so we're going to send our other fabbers to another part of the map, make an area command for them to get those 6 metal extractors. So now that we're moving through and into our opponent's base, we're going to start making some choices here. So when we scouted, we knew that their commander was over here. So we're going to go away from their commander since he's a very hard unit in the beginning of the game to kill. So we're going to move into their base and pressure them there. We're going to go away from where their commander is. So we don't know anything that's happening around our base though. So what we want to do is get a radar. Everything in the green circle is something that the radar will show as a blip on the map. With that, we can see what's coming at us and everything. So we know that the opponent is up here and has claimed these 3 metal spots. So we're going to send a fighter, because you can tell, because this blip is bouncing up and down and it's floating in the air. You can tell that that is an air unit, and I'm guessing it's an air fabber. So we're gonna go and shoot it down before it finishes its metal extractor. So now that our units have been defeated in their base, we should always be making units, and I wasn't doing that, but we're gonna need some units. So in order to select all 3 factories at the same time, I just clicked on one, held shift, then clicked on the other 2. And then I could select what I wanted. You can also go over here and go to build mode continuous, and that'll make them constantly build what you have queued. In order to throw something in the front of the queue, you hold control and then click on that unit. It won't be entered into your queue, but it'll bypass your queue and go to the front of it. So I want 2 bombers, I want a couple combat fabs, and some grenadiers. And then once it's done with all that, all that will be left is the build queue of my bolos, my docks, and my hummingbirds. So I want them to move forward. So I want to go collect some more metal since we haven't reached our storage capacity yet. So I'm gonna go and collect some more metal over there. And we're not using what we have, so I'm gonna build some more factories. So I'm gonna build 1 more vehicle factory and 2 more bot factories. And a factory takes 12 metal, 15 metal, and 15 metal respectively. So at 3 factories, it's going to be 45 metal per second when they're all building a unit. So we have about plus 45. So that'll even our income out at about 0 once all 3 of these factories are built. So I'm going to put it on continuous and have it build light tanks. I'm going to have this one on continuous and I'm going to have it build grenadiers. And I'm going to want some anti-air units, so I'm going to control shift out some anti-air units. And then I'm going to have this one on continuous and build more assault bots. So I don't want to be raided and have them having the faster moving light assault bots coming through and taking away my metal. So I'm going to go over here and build some single laser towers. So I'm going to click and hold shift as I'm doing this to build multiple without having to build one at a time. Then I'm going to go over here to walls and I'm going to put a wall in front of that and in front of there. And then to make sure that I don't get bombed, I'm going to throw down some anti-air turrets. So we're going to move forward and try to attack the enemy again. But before we do this, we want to find out what the enemy has. So we're going to hold control, bypass our continuous build, and we are going to build some fireflies, which are the scout planes. So we still have more metal than we are using right now. So we're going to build some more factories. We're going to build another air factory, 2 more bot factories, and 2 more vehicle factories. But in order to do this, I'm going to have to get some power. So I see these units coming, so I'm going to run away. I'm not sure if it'll be in time. And I'm being raided at different points across the map. So knowing that my enemies are coming, I'm going to go over there with some units. And I'm going to want to build a couple fabrication bots because I lost the ones down here. So I want to be able to build some more power since I'm starting to lose power now. And I can't build as many factories anymore because I don't have the metal income. I lost 1, 2, 3 metal extractors. So I'm going to start being in more negative than I am positive. So I'm going to have my commander only finish that one and then continue on his way. So in order to take back those metal extractors, I'm just going to go over here to metal extractor, hold down shift, click, and drag. And then I want to take this one back, or I want to build some power first actually. So I'm going to go in the back of my base, click on power, and drag. Now if I hold shift during this, I let go, and I can build multiple lines of power. So I'm going to want 1 more bot so that I can go and capture this. Once this guy is done, I'm going to hold shift to make it so I enter his queue once he's done with that, and then it won't interrupt him. And then I'm gonna right click on my bot fabricator building power, and now enter in shift that he's gonna go over and assist my power creating bot. That way I won't go too negative in the power sector. So now I'm gonna grab the rest of my army. I'm gonna leave this one here to defend, and I'm gonna click it all to go in that area. Now I'm gonna grab all my units though, and I'm gonna find my scout planes, the fireflies, and I'm gonna click on them individually, and I'm gonna use them to go see what my enemy is doing. So my enemy has a radar there, so they know what's going on. My enemy's base has abandoned this area. They haven't really done anything over there. Most of their base is over here now. So if I zoom in, I see they have a lot of defending structures. So in order to do that, I'm gonna probably want to soak up some more damage. So I'm gonna double click on my vehicle factory, and I'm gonna hold control and click until I have 10 infernos. Now are my next 10 vehicles that are gonna be coming out of my factory. So I'm gonna go over here, click the rest of my army this way. I'm gonna bring down my commander, and I'm gonna build some walls. And then I can build some laser turrets and some anti-air defense turrets. The Galata turrets. So I'm gonna take this guy, and I'm gonna go build power, and then I'm gonna hold shift still, and I'm gonna click on the bot guy to build more power. So I'm reaching my limit on both of my resources that I'm using, so I'm gonna make more storages, and then I know I have a lot of metal and a lot of power saved up. So I'm gonna build a big line of my vehicle factories. So I'm gonna click. So I'm gonna, instead of just building one at a time, I can click and I can drag to aerial build. This allows me to build multiple factories in the same area. It'll space it out all on its own. So I'm gonna grab the rest of my army, then I'm gonna hold shift and grab the rest of this army, and I'm gonna get them ready to go to war. So I'm gonna click attack and move them up. This will make everything go as fast as it can to the area. But I don't want my air units dying just yet, so I'm going to click on the triangle icon, and it grabs my air units. So I'm going to send them back. Now in order to go further into my enemy's zone, I can either make an attack order in the back here, or I could have just made a move order way in the back of their base. So I know this area isn't that heavily defended, so I'm actually going to make a small unit group here, and I'm going to tell them to attack back there. And then I'm going to grab the rest of these units and move them down here. Hold shift, grab those units, move them down here, and then I'm going to put an attack command down here. Now I'm going to grab all this. I want some air cover, so I'm going to grab my air units. I'm going to move them over in behind my units, so that way I'm defending my units from air attacks. So I have the opponent on the back end. I'm going to grab my units. I'm going to send some units to different spots on the map, so that way I can attack. If you hold shift, you can see all your queue lines and move lines. So I'm going to, with the units you have selected, so I'm going to grab all my units in my base, and then I'm going to give them an attack command to go there. And then I'm going to hold shift, click the attack command again, and then I'm going to click different route, so that way they help the rest of my units. I see my enemy has a leveler, which that means they have advanced vehicle factory up. So I'm gonna try to reclaim him. It didn't work. So now that I've destroyed that area of my opponent, I'm gonna bring my units back over here. I see he has a Faber coming, so I'm gonna bomb it. I have one bomber left, so he's gonna come over here, doing a bombing pass, and he will kill their enemy Faber. So I'm gonna bring my air units back to base. Now I'm gonna click and drag on all my units. I'm gonna get rid of my air units from this queue, and I'm gonna put all my units over here. Now I'm gonna grab all my factories, gonna drag them over there. I'm gonna get some more fighters, click out 4 more bombers. And then I'm gonna put all my queues in the same spot by right clicking on the ground. If I hold shift, you can now see one line for all the rally points of all my factories. I'm gonna click over and send all my units built over there. So I'm gonna want a bit more vehicles to be able to take out this enemy. So now that I'm just gonna stop them on this one. I have 16,000 metal saved up, so I can crash my eco a little bit. So now I'm gonna grab all 6 of those factories by holding shift while I'm selecting them. And I'm just gonna click on the attack, put an area, and then I'm gonna click out some bolos and some spinners. I'm gonna click out one group of skidders and some more bolos. And during this, I'm gonna send these 2 fabrication bots to build a radar that allows me to see this whole entire area. So now I'm gonna grab my land army over here. I'm gonna grab my whole army over here and click them this way. But while they're going there, I'm going to select all my land or all my air units, and I'm gonna send them a bit further back where I queued the rest of my army. So I want some more intel on a consistent rate. So I'm gonna click one of my land factories I just built, send it to continuous, make sure I have patrol, click area command over the whole planet. Leave that there. If I hit shift, I can make sure that it's on an area patrol. And then I'm gonna queue up some skidders. And those will go around the whole entire planet, scouting. So in order to beat my opponent, I might have to move my commander up into the front. So I'm gonna queue up all my units to attack my enemy again. But I'm gonna grab my air, and I'm gonna camp them in the back. I'm gonna grab these units, and I'm gonna tell them to attack. Grab these units, tell them to attack. Grab the air, sit it over here. Now my units are starting to kill all my opponent's stuff in this area. So now I'm gonna grab these units, and I'm gonna have them be brought over here. But there is a faster way I could do this. I'm gonna actually build a teleporter over here. I'm gonna go over and hold shift while I'm clicking on my factories to grab all my factories in this area. I'm now gonna set them as a move command to there, and I'm gonna grab all these units. I'm gonna hover above the teleporter and right click, and that gives them a use command. Oh, I've defeated the enemy commander. So this is how you play Planetary Annihilation at a very basic level and an intro level. Um, I'll go over the units and the UI a bit more in a further video. Thanks for watching.